name is Russ Weisenbacher, and I'm the Quogue Library's IT coordinator. IT, a fancy word for information technology. It just means that I'm in charge of computers and technology at the library. Now, originally we were supposed to do a live program at the firehouse, as we always did, where a projector and screen and me hosting it to talk about internet safety and security and scams and spams and all of that. But unfortunately, with the coronavirus situation, we had to adapt. And instead of doing a live program, I decided to make this a YouTube video so that you could stop it and rewind it whenever you needed to find out more, write things down, etc. I'm coming to you today from my home office, in my home, and what you're going to see is something a little different. Right now you're seeing me, and then the picture will cut to screen captures. We'll actually be looking at computer screens and zooming in on important areas, and then later on we'll look at some different things regarding the phone. So what we're going to talk to you about today is staying safe, especially now. There are so many scammers and spammers out there trying to get your money, trying to steal your identity, and they're getting craftier and craftier. And what we're going to look at are ways to protect yourself, ways to identify the scams and spams. I'm going to give you sites to visit that are legitimate, that you can verify what you're seeing and what you're reading. And that's the important thing. Verification. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to reach out and check things out before you do that. So look before you leap, as Grandpa always said, and it's better to be safe than sorry.
Staying safe in an online world has never been more important than it is these days. There are more scammers, spammers out there that are trying to steal your identity, grab your money, or worse. The problems we read every day about security breaches, identity theft, vulnerabilities, scams to steal your identity, etc., etc. When we look at our computers and our phones, we get Facebook messages. We see articles such as our friend, quote unquote, who's really not our friend, that wants you to click on this to get your home movies made. Hey, everybody wants to do that, except this won't take you there. We talk about that phone that has a problem. We talk about people being exposed, and then iPhone problems. If people don't follow the right protocols, they can have iPhone problems. So when we start off, since we're going to be starting over the computer, the case for good antivirus software has never been more important. Every computer, Windows and Macs, need up-to-date antivirus software. You have to have it. Macs can be infected too. And in the past, I went through some articles. I'm just going to quickly go through them, the titles. We've got Macs targeted by the Key Ranger ransomware for the first time. We have the Apple addresses a problem with security. We have Apple's really do have serious problems. So let's talk about looking at antivirus software. What to start with? Where to go to? Well, luckily, PC Magazine, which is one of the most reputable magazines out there and started in the 1980s as a print magazine and now is digital, each year does a ranking of the best internet security suites. And here on the screen, you can see the various different ones. BitDefender always comes out on top, always is in the top 3. Norton and Kaspersky tend to flip back and forth. They're another 2. McAfee is one. McAfee has been completely rewritten and is now really good. And we have something called WebRoot as well. So those are your top ones. Let's take a look at them a little bit closer. BitDefender has been around for quite some time and is very secure. The best and most popular is their Total Security Suite. For $44.99 for a year, to have 5 devices protected is well worth it. I use this product on my computer because of its results. It's Mac and PC, don't forget. Norton makes a great suite of products. Their Norton 360, which does scans and checks. If you start with the $39 one, you can protect up to 1 PC or 1 Mac or 1 smartphone. Why not spend an extra $10 and protect up to 5 PCs, Macs, etc.? But what if you say, I don't want to spend the money? Well, luckily, Optimum, our internet provider here on Long Island, New York, has free internet protection powered by McAfee. Free. And you can protect up to 20 devices at no extra cost. 20. So that means you can cover every computer in your house. You can cover your children, your grandchildren. If you have an account, they can get on it. And interestingly, if you don't have an Optimum account, but you do know somebody with one, they can add you as one of their 20. So it's great to put this on. What does it look like? Well, excuse me, on my computer up here is the B. And that shows me that BitDefender is running. And we open up the main window for BitDefender, we can see that it tells me you are safe. Nice green shield with a check mark letting me know. Now remember, with Macs, less is more. They like to keep things simple. So if this box is checked for safe files, that means it's protecting my computer. Do I have web protection? Yes, I've got Safari, Chrome, and Firefox all protected on this computer. And we'll look at that in just a moment. What about Windows, you might be saying? Well, let's take a look at Windows. Through a program called Parallels, I can actually run a licensed version of Windows 10 inside the Mac so that I can do things where Windows is needed and a Mac can't handle it. So here in my Windows environment, down in the lower right corner, we see that there's also a B, and if you hover the mouse, it says you are safe. And if we click on it, we will open up the BitDefender Total Security window, and you can see that you are safe as well. And it tells you all of those different things as a protection. But for Windows people like to fool around and adjust different settings, and so you can get really down into the nitty-gritty. You don't need to do that. All of these things are turned on by default, and it lets you know what privacy settings are available to you. Now, with a Mac, like we talked about before, Macs are protected by default. It's set it and forget it. Keep things simple. The BitDefender on the Mac is doing the same thing. So what does that do for web browsing? Well, let's take a look at the different web browsers that we have. What if we do a search on internet scams using Chrome? Chrome is one of the most popular web browsers out there. I happen to have three. I have Chrome, I have Firefox, and Safari all on my computer. So I've entered the search term internet scams in the search bar up here at the top. And the results that came are shown here. Now, here's what I want to point out to you, that even though I have antivirus protection, the top two choices are ads. And luckily, Google lets you know that they're ads. Don't click on ads unless you absolutely know where they're coming from. But notice the other choices below. This page is safe if we hover the mouse. If we hover the mouse here, this page is safe, the green check mark. Why is that? Because over here, this is part of BitDefender called the traffic light. And the BitDefender traffic light is constantly watching the different websites to make sure that the pages are safe. And all the browsers have it. So if we go to our Firefox browser and we look at internet scams, in the Firefox browser, same thing. Each green check mark shows me that it's a safe website, but at the top, there are ads. And interestingly, in Firefox, there's 3 ads instead of 2. But over here, in the upper right corner, is our traffic light that's protecting the websites that we visit with that. What about Safari? Well, Safari is running. It's a web browser. Notice again at the top is an ad. And then here we have this page is safe, this page is safe. And in this, we have the BitDefender traffic light is watching us. So regardless of what program you buy, whether it's BitDefender or Norton, or if you use the free McAfee provided by Optimum, you will get something like the traffic light that will watch your different sites. But it's very important to note that this is not a foolproof method. Just like if your house has the best deadbolt locks on the front door, that if somebody tried to ram your front door, they wouldn't get in. But if they rang the doorbell and you unlock your locks and you let the person in, then you have a problem. So with websites, you still have to pay attention to what you're clicking on. So let's demonstrate how an antivirus program actually works. What we have is a test program that I've obtained that will trigger my antivirus program because it's got a signature in it that looks like it's a virus. But don't worry, folks. In my case, this is not really a virus, but it's meant to trigger it. So what will happen is I'm going to unzip, or this is a compressed file, this file. And what will happen is the computer will see that once it's been released, as it were, that the antivirus program will grab it and quarantine it right away. So we're going to click on it. We're going to extract it. Once we extract it, then it exposes it. And within a few seconds, the BitDefender will grab it and say, whoa, what's going on? And there it is, threat detected, file. So let's show you one thing. What if we open up our web browser and we say, well, I want to test my antivirus program. So I type in test antivirus malicious website so that I could find a good testing website. Well, you got to be careful, because if you do this, you'll come across one that says, oh, malicious website test. This is absolutely harmless and designed to test software. But notice that luckily we have our traffic light for the program that I have, but you might have a McAfee program or another one, and it's coming up with a red X. And if we hover our X on it, it says threat detected. We detected elements that might harm your device. So under no circumstances, click on this link to this malicious website test, even though it says this website is absolutely harmless. Look at that. Sure, no worries. Let me just have your wallet. Your money will be fine. That's the same thing here. So don't click on that. You can't really test your antivirus software through a website, but it's constantly updated, and as long as you keep the software updated, you'll be okay. Computers make it very easy to scam you. It's much easier to catch someone to scam on a computer, since computers are everywhere. It's easy to fool people. Email is the most prevalent way to catch people in a scam, and people tend to believe what they read on the internet. If it's written, it must be correct, right? Wrong. Be wary. Be careful. If it sounds too good to be true, then it probably is. My dad always used to say that to me. So phishing with a phishing is a term just like fishing with an F, where you cast your line out and you hope to grab a fish and reel it in. Phishing, phishing, wants to grab you or reel you in. It steals personal information, authentication information, social security numbers, account numbers. It's perpetrated by email. It's the easiest way. People tend to get scared when they see something that supposedly comes from their bank, and fake websites. And you can even get redirected without your knowledge to a fraudulent site, and they call that farming with a PHARM. I don't know who makes this stuff up. But let's take a look at this first example of a fraudulent email. This was sent to my friend, and it told him that you are to appear in court. Notice to appear. This is to inform you to appear in court on the March 23rd for your case hearing. Please prepare all documents related to the case, and blah, 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 blah. And what they do is they provide down here an attachment that you're supposed to detach from the email, open, and read about your quote-unquote court case. But in reality, that is a virus waiting to spring. How do you know that this is fake? Well, look where it came from. It says county court up here. Well, what is the county court? And what is this ns583.websitewelcome.com? That's not a court. You have to read where it's coming from. Also, always look for bad English, bad grammar, bad syntax. This is to inform you to appear in the court on the March 23rd. On the March 23rd? You got to be careful with the little things like that. What about this one from the bank? Oh, you have a problem with your bank account. Now, Commercial Federal Bank is a true bank, and this person gets that. And if you click on this Renew Now button that they want you to click on, you won't be taken to your bank. You'll be taken here. Well, that looks like a bank login. This is the legitimate one. This is not the legitimate one. So how can you tell where you're going? You have to look in the address bar up here at the top where it says http comfedbank.com. Well, that looks legitimate. Oh, wait, .update-user5763.info, then a slash. That's not right. Take a look at the legitimate one. It just says comfedbank.com. That's the important part. Web addresses always will end with a slash, and then anything after that slash is fine. But before this slash, it has to read correct. What about this? PayPal. Uh-oh, we have PayPal. Let me log into PayPal and fix my account. Oh, wait. Which PayPal is correct? Which PayPal is correct? This one or this one? This one or this one? They're both the same. Well, let's take a look. This one is the correct one because if we look at the top, it's www.paypal.com/ and then stuff. And that's okay. That's just language to let the website run. So what was the other one? It was capacilla.com/PayPal. What is a capacilla? I have no idea, but I can tell you right now that once you entered your email address and password to log into capacilla, you are going to then be taken to the cleaners, as it were. So what about real emails? Let's take a look in my folder of examples that I have collected here. So, hey, congratulations. You've received a CVS reward. I did? Great. Except, wait a minute, there's nothing in the email because the program had scanned and stopped it. And look where it comes from. It comes from Anna Bellairs 465 plus 101 at googlemail.com. That's not CVS. Don't click on that. What about this? Hey, congratulations, you've been selected. Well, that one's a little easier because of all this gobbledygook in the subject line. You know not to click on that. What about Costco? We all go to Costco. New Costco reward ready. Luckily, it's crazy. And look where it's coming from. What address is that? That is certainly not Costco that I know. Don't open these emails. If they go to your spam folder, which they should, that's great. Oh, Apple. Hey, your billing account has a problem. We all have Apple stuff, but wait a minute. What's this attachment? Don't open that up. And what is this email address? That is certainly not Apple's. Luckily, if you notice, Gmail automatically flags these things, and normally you wouldn't have seen that. And that's a nice thing. Between that and your antivirus programs, it could happen. So let's take a close look at this email that cost her everything. What if you were buying a house and received an email that you thought was from your lawyer? So this was an actual email to a woman named Lynn that supposedly came from her lawyer because the web address looked correct. And it said, I had a chat with the seller's attorney regarding funding, and she instructed to have the final closing amount deposited in escrow prior to closing. Please do let me know if you can start moving funds to escrow today. Regards, and then the lawyer's name. But it was a scam. Lynn Wiedmar of Glenhead, and this is a true story that was in Newsday, lost $504,000. $500,000, $500,000. What had happened was, what she thought was an email from her attorney was not an email from her attorney. And what she should have done is called the attorney before she lost all of this money that she could never get back because, as this article describes, the money went into offshore accounts and it can't be found. Something like out of a movie. So if you're dealing with stuff that's important and you have a lawyer, it's always best to call or text your lawyer if you have his or her number and ask, hey, did you send me an email asking for money? It sounds crazy, but it's better to be safe than sorry. How to protect yourself? Well, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has warned people about this. Identify two people you can trust to confirm payment instructions. Confirm them in phone, in person, not by email. Don't use phone numbers or links in emails. Do not email financial information. We all get into the habit of, I'll just type in my bank account and routing number to my lawyer and send it. Emails can be intercepted. Even on a phone call, be wary. If you have suspected that you've been a victim of fraud, contact your local authorities and or the FBI. Another email that's becoming more and more prevalent these days is the threatening email, such as this one that was sent to a colleague of mine. I have changed some information about it and cut and pasted the information here. But essentially, this email starts off with, I do know blah, 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 blah is your password. And it so happened that this was actually the person's password. I've changed some of that stuff like that, but in the original email, that was her password. And it's because her email and password account was part of another site that was hacked. And that information got sold to the dark web. Sounds like it's coming from a movie, but it's a true place. And hackers and people and criminals can buy this information. So stolen information was purchased by this person who sent this email and said, I require your total attention in the next 24 hours, or I will make sure that you live out of guilt for the rest of your lifespan. It's crazy. So in other words, this is a threatening email. You don't know me personally, but I know nearly everything about you, all of your Facebook contact list, your mobile contacts, blah, 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 including your nasty video, which is the main reason why I'm composing this email to you. So what this person was doing was blanketing this out with this master list that they purchased to people and saying, I have a video of you doing something that you should not be doing, and I'm going to start randomly sending this video to 3 people that you're friends with. And it could be your friends, your coworkers, your boss, mother, or father. I'm not sure. My system will randomly select the contact ideals. So what this person wanted my colleague to do is send 2,000 in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a digital currency on the internet, and send it to this web address. And I've changed this. This is not legitimate. And so that this person would be safe. Because once you send this, then I will disappear for good. Take a look at the bottom. I will disappear for good and never get in touch with you again. Well, $2,000 in Bitcoin in today's exchange rate is $14,000 American money. That's crazy. This is nothing but a scam. If you get something like this, delete it. If you're nervous about it, submit it to your local FBI office. You can go to fbi.gov and click on scams, and they'll tell you how to report this type of thing. But this is what's happening. People don't like to be scared. People think that they're not safe, and so they're going to send that money. It's another variant of something called ransomware, but it's not. All you need to do is, if you get something like this, click that delete button and get rid of it. And if you're really nervous, report. Now, fraud is not done only through computers. Good old-fashioned telephone is still the best way for most people to do scams, especially against the elderly. Texts can be used too. We'll talk more about that in just a moment. P.T. Barnum once said there's a sucker born every minute. So I'm telling you, please don't be the sucker. The old adage of don't call us, we'll call you should be changed to don't call me, I will call you back. It's important to note that the caller ID on the phone can be spoofed and faked. So just because your phone says it's coming from PSEG, Long Island, it's not. Just because it says IRS, it is not. You cannot trust it. It's a shame, but you can't trust it. There's so many scams out there that people try, especially the healthcare fraud and health insurance fraud. That's a huge one. Tech support scams are another huge scam to grab people. And of course, billing scams, IRS scams, scams about the elderly. All of those are important. So when someone calls you, regardless of who calls you, whether it's your bank, your mortgage lender, your auto loan, the credit card company, Medicare, hospitals, senior living facilities, it is they that are calling you. Remember that. 99.9% of the time, they are not legitimate. Never, please, never give out any personal information. This includes your social security number. Instead, it's very easy. You call them back. Thank them, hang up, and then get the back of your bill or your back of your credit card and use that number. If the person on the phone says to you, oh, let me save you some time, here's our number, toll free, 800, that's a scam. People fall for that. Please don't fall for that. Please call them back. The IRS phone scam is the most prevalent, especially now that it's tax time, especially now that there's some confusion about the tax extension to July because of the coronavirus. People will call up and say, hey, there's a problem, and they'll try to get you to give information, because once they get your information, they can file a false tax return and get a refund and get you into trouble. Robocalls are automated calls, And we are getting better at identifying them, but they are getting better, the robocallers, at having software that sounds like human voice. And it's not. Tech support scams are the largest variety of support scams out there. Microsoft will never call you about a Windows problem. Your computer never contacts Microsoft, if it's a Windows computer, to tell them that there's a problem. It doesn't work that way. Macintosh computers, Macs, don't call back to Apple and let them know. Do not trust these unsolicited phone calls. Now, I understand that there's a scale of security versus convenience. The more convenient something is, the less secure it's going to be. The more secure something is, the less convenient it's going to be. But security has to be your top priority. Smartphone or your tablet. Well, it's very important to lock your phone with a PIN. 6 digits is much more secure than the old 4 digits. If you don't lock your phone, you'll be vulnerable. Anyone can open your phone and get the information out of it. If you have Touch ID or the new Face ID, use them. They are secure. Your fingerprints, unless they're cut off of you, that's kind of gross, sorry, and your face cannot be replicated. And it's a lot easier than typing in 6 digits. But some people like to type in 6 digits. Please do not make the 6 digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 or 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, etc. Make it something that you know that has some ability for looking like it's a random set of numbers. It can be the birth dates. It could be your last 2 digits of the birth date for your year, your wife, your eldest child, etc. Put together 6 numbers and make it easy for you to remember, and it will secure your phone. If your phone is stolen, nobody can get through this. Yes, they can erase your phone and use it, but all your data will be gone. Losing the smartphone can be stressful. Each day, can you believe this? 200,000 devices are lost, stolen, or damaged every day. Lock it, protect it, secure it, back it up. Please download apps only from the trusted store. Only get your apps. For Apple iPhones, it's the App Store, the A. For Android phones, it's the Google Play Store. If you have a Windows phone, does anybody even use them anymore? It's the Microsoft Store. Don't get apps anywhere else. Luckily, iPhone folks can't install apps that aren't in the App Store. It's the only way. That's why they're more secure. Android phones can theoretically install software that doesn't come from the Google Play Store. So please, only go from the legitimate stores. Back up your data. Back it up so in case something happens and you have to get a new phone, you can get all your data back. It's really easy. In the iPhone, they have an iCloud backup that's part of your phone. For an Android phone, the backup is part of your carrier's plan, so Verizon, etc. You can even use Verizon for an iPhone. It's easy to do. It happens at night when the phone's on charge and connected to your Wi-Fi at your house. It'll back up your data, so if you ever lose it, it's stolen, you can get the information. Keep everything updated. I know that sounds redundant, but it's important to update the software on your phone. The apps will generally update themselves automatically, and in new versions of the Apple iOS, which is the name of their operating system, you can set it to update automatically, and that's a set it and forget it thing, which is great. You do that for security purposes. Log out of all sites that use sensitive information. Remember that scale of convenience versus security we talked about in the previous slide? Take the time to log into your bank site. Log out when you're finished. If you're using a Face ID and a Touch ID, logging in and out, very simple. If you're using a password, it's a little bit more complicated, but if you leave it logged in and somebody gets your phone, they can get your information as well. Now, what about text messages? What about the texts that ask you for information? We tend to trust text messages blindly. We get a text message, it's got to be legitimate, right? Wrong. It's not. Be careful. Stop and think, please. Notice the emphasis on never give out any personal financial information to anyone you don't know, no matter how official it looks. Please don't do that. If you don't recognize the text, don't do it. Don't ask the person, who is this, because they'll make it up. So let's take a look now at some things that we can do in our phones to protect us. So this is a screen. These are screen captures from my iPhone. So this is a screen. I like to read USA Today. And right here, this on-demand consumer feedback is essential. This was an ad that was drawing itself in here. And sometimes these look very, very important. And if you click on it, you can be scammed. You can be scammed. You don't know who's putting this ad in. USA Today does not scrutinize who puts the ads in. If they're reported on as being fraudulent, then USA Today and every other news site will investigate. But what's popping up at any given time, they don't know. Be careful that you don't get suckered into it. Now, what about the security settings on your iPhone or other device, Android? Well, in an iPhone, most of us use Safari. Safari is the browser of choice. So to secure Safari, go into your settings, and then go into the settings, and then scroll down to where it says Safari. Tap on Safari, and you will see, as you scroll down, these are the settings that you want to have on. And we're going to go through a few of them. Privacy and security. So prevent cross-site tracking. Yes, absolutely. Fraudulent website warning. Absolutely. Check for Apple Pay. That's an option. And block all cookies. If you'll notice, mine is turned off, because if you block all cookies, that can break a website and not have it work. These fraudulent website warnings are what you need to do. More importantly is the clear history and website data. Very important. Clearing out the history and website data keeps the browser running smoothly and prevents fraudulent activity happening. But you have to actually go into the settings and do this. You tap on that and it will clear it out. Now, if you scroll down below that, there are settings for website. Page zoom, all that means is how big is the text going to display. Request desktop website, you don't need to do that. The three that you're interested in are camera, microphone, and location. Underneath camera, please make sure it's set for ask or deny, not allow. You don't want a site to turn on your webcam on your phone without your permission, and you don't want the microphone set to be on without your permission. And your location access. Why do you want all the websites to know where you are at all times? So all of those you turn off. What if you use a different browser? Some people have Chrome installed on their phones. Chrome has settings as well to assist you. In the Chrome web page, you would go down to the three dots to bring up the settings. It pops this up and you're interested in history. History. And you want to make sure that you clear browsing data. All these should be checked. The time range should be set to all time. And then you click clear browsing data and it will clear out your browsing data. What about security settings? Good thing is that Chrome browser on the iPhone, very secure, very secure. And finally, shopping. It's much better to go into shopping sites using their own apps. So if you like to buy from Amazon, use the Amazon app by Amazon. Don't go to the website on the Safari browser. Use the app. Peapod for our deliveries now more than ever. Grocery deliveries, use the app. You can use the app for Starbucks. You can use the app for FedEx, CVS Pharmacy. CVS is doing free medicine deliveries for people at no extra charge. It takes a day or so, but they can deliver it to you so you don't have to go to the store. Almost every site has it. Use a app designed by the site if you can. Don't use the browser. Everybody says, I can't remember all my passwords. We're going to show you a couple of little solutions about that. But let's talk about the basics of passwords. We used to be told that we had to come up with cryptic names, but long phrases are better than short things with crazy characters. So, for example, the word password, if we changed the P and we used the @ symbol and we got two $signs, a W, a 0 for the O, a small R, and a D, 9 hours. That could be hacked. 9 hours. What about the phrase, John lives at 92 Smith Boulevard? That won't be able to be hacked for trillions of years. Yes, you heard me correctly, trillions of years. This website here, howsecureismypassword.net, is run by one of the legitimate password protection companies. And if you go there and type in the password you use, you can see how quickly they can be hacked. It's a legitimate site. Test your passwords and you'll be quite surprised. Use a phrase instead of a word that you just can't remember. Having different passwords is also a must. Banking sites should be different from Amazon. Other shopping sites different from others. Your email should be different from those. You don't need 50 million different passwords, but make sure you have a few different ones so that if one is compromised, it doesn't bring down everything. How often should you change your password? Well, new studies show that less frequent is okay now. They used to say every 90 days do it. Nobody did it then. It's too much. So you don't need to do it really unless you have a problem or you sense that there's a problem or you read an article about a website that you were on that was hacked or you get an email from them saying, oh, we're sorry, our data was compromised and we're going to sign you up for free credit monitoring. Change your password. Change your password. You can use programs. In another session, we're going to talk more about the programs that you can use to remember passwords on computers and on devices. LastPass and Dashlane are the two. Each one is similar to the other with very minor variations. It doesn't matter which one. It's like Ford versus Chevy. It doesn't really matter. Using that helps you remember long passwords and sites. There's even studies done. Back in 2017, they tested them to see which ones were the best password managers. Again, PC Magazine, they can run different tests. Can you get help? Sure. Identity monitoring services may be what you need. There's many of them. Experian is the one called IdentityWorks. You sign up for it, and what it does is it scans the internet all the time for information that you've provided them to see if it's been compromised. Can they protect you against getting compromised? No. But can it let you know if there's a problem? Yes. Is it worth it? Sometimes. Can I find out more information? Well, very easy. The Quogue Library tech blog on the library website. Our library's address, www.quoguelibrary.org. www.quoguelibrary.org. In the front, it says Technology Blog, and if you click on Technology Blog, you will see the latest information that I've provided. Underneath this one, be alert to coronavirus scams and more. If you click on this link, you'll be brought to the blog that I wrote about the coronavirus scams that are becoming more and more prevalent. And it provides you with information not only about coronavirus scams, but about all scams. You've got information from the Postal Service Inspector, the Federal Trade Commission, the federal government itself, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. And you can even check information from charities on Charity Watch. And finally, the one that's my favorite, the Snopes website checks all the rumors out there. And if we go to Snopes.com now, we'll take a look and see what the leading story is. And for today, April 24th, is Trump administration seizing COVID-19 protective equipment from states. If you click on read more, they will debunk rumors. There's many, many, many links here on the latest articles about Typhoid Mary and fake videos and fake drugs and reopening. All of these things, this site, Snopes, debunks rumors. It's an excellent site. So is CharityWatch.org. You enter the charity that you're looking for in the box, click on the little spyglass, magnifying glass, and you will be brought to websites telling you whether a charity is legitimate or not legitimate. So go visit the tech blog on the Quogue Library site to get information to help you stay informed. This article was about that threatening email that you heard earlier. It's all available, and then there are some older information on there, and we try to update this at least once a month, if not more. Thank you for attending our online video on staying safe online. Please remember to stay vigilant, stay alert. Remember, if it's too good to be true, then it usually is. Also remember, don't call me, I will call you back. Never give out personal information in phone calls, through emails. Look at those links that we provided for you to stay safe. And stay tuned, we'll have more videos in our tech series. I've been Russ Weisenbacher, the library's IT guy. Thank you, stay safe.